what I want to talk about specifically on terminating spouse support on long-term marriages, you can only do that by agreement. California law states if you and your spouse have been married longer than 10 years, that the court's jurisdiction, their ability to order spouse support to either party, is reserved for future determination. Most of our clients who have long-term marriages doing this amicably want to terminate that. Maybe they're both working, they're both self-supporting, or what have you, and we will do a waiver that they will initial and sign off on, saying that they both are terminating the court's jurisdiction, despite the fact that it would normally be reserved. You cannot do that in a default without an agreement type case. You would have to reserve jurisdiction, and that is your only option. If you have a petition that you filed and you either didn't mark anything for spousal, or you marked terminate the court's jurisdiction, serve that, and then your spouse is not going to participate. If you try and turn in a judgment, a default judgment saying terminate spousal, the court will reject your judgment saying you can't do that. It's a long-term marriage. So if you go then to say, well, let me make this correction to my judgment and change it to reserved, the court will reject your judgment again, saying you can't make any requests in your judgment that you didn't make in your petition. So even though they're telling you, hey, you can't mark the box to terminate, they're telling you to mark the box to reserve. When you go to turn that back in, they're going to say it doesn't match the petition. And that's the trickiest part about default without agreement type cases. So what you'd have to do in this particular case is you'd have to amend your summons and petition to and check the reserve box, refile, reserve. It doesn't restart the clock on the 6 months, but you do have to wait another 30 days, because if you did file the request under default, it will set that aside automatically by the filing of amended petition. We just had a client who did a consultation with us last week where that was the information I had to tell him. He thought he was so far along in the process, only to learn that because of the mistakes he made on the petition, we had to start over.